Okay, so we've just spent all this time talking about the womb, this perfectly controlled, safe environment. But what happens the second that ends? The moment a baby takes its first breath, it kicks off the single most intense, most transformative year of its entire life. It's a journey from pure survival to explosive growth, and we're going to break it down.
And no, that is not an exaggeration. I mean, just think about it for a second. In only 12 months, a tiny human goes from being 100% dependent for absolutely everything to practically walking and talking. The amount of development packed into that first year, it's a biological marvel they will literally never repeat in their lifetime.
All right, so to really get a handle on this incredible transition, we need to get our terms straight. You know, in nutrition and especially in clinical settings, the words we use aren't just for show. They define really specific biological stages. Each one has its own set of challenges and, crucially for us, its own nutritional requirements.
Okay, so this is a super important distinction. We tend to throw around words like neonate and infant like they're the same thing, but biologically, they are worlds apart. Think of it like this. The neonatal period, those first 28 days, it's a desperate, all-out sprint for survival. Infancy, that whole first year, that's the marathon of growth that comes right after.
So, when we say survival physiology, what are we actually talking about? Well, it means the neonate's body is basically in red alert mode. It's scrambling to adapt to life on the outside. For 9 months, the placenta was the life support system, right? It did everything. Now, all of a sudden, their own tiny lungs have to breathe, their heart has to figure out circulation all by itself, and their body has to learn how to stay warm. It's like a massive, system-wide reboot, and the stakes are, well, life and death.
And even within that first month, it's not all the same. The danger is really front-loaded. Those first 7 days, that's the make-or-break window. It's when all those new systems have to come online and actually work. If they get through that first week, things calm down a bit. The focus then shifts from just survive to more stable things, like gaining weight steadily and keeping an eye out for common issues like jaundice.
All right, so once they've made it through that initial trial by fire, the main event of infancy begins, and that story is all about one thing: absolutely explosive growth. So how do we actually measure this incredible journey? Well, let's look at the metrics that matter.
Believe it or not, one of the very first things doctors and nurses look for is poop. Yep, that first stool, called Meconium, is a huge milestone. It's the green flag that tells everyone the entire digestive system has fired up and is ready to go. Now here's something that can freak new parents out. The first thing that happens after birth is the baby loses weight. And you might think, wait, what? But it's totally normal. It's mostly just extra fluid they're shedding. The real sign that everything's on track is how fast they stop losing and start gaining it back. The goal is to be back at their birth weight within about 7 to 10 days.
And once that rebound starts, hold on, because the pace is just wow. By the time they're only 4 to 6 months old, they've already doubled their birth weight. Doubled.
Then, by their first birthday, they've tripled it. Just stop and think about that. Can you imagine an adult tripling their body weight in 1 year? It's a rate of growth that is just staggering. And it's not just about getting heavier either. They're getting longer too. In that same year, their length increases by a whopping 50%. We're talking about head-to-toe growth on a scale that is just mind-blowing. But you know, of all the things we measure, weight, length, this next one might be the most critical of all: head circumference. We're not just measuring the size of their head. It's our best window into what's happening inside. It's a proxy measurement for the explosive, once-in-a-lifetime growth of the brain.
And this right here is exactly why this is so important in a nutrition course. The stakes could not possibly be higher. The food an infant gets during this time isn't just for energy. It's literally building the physical structure of their brain. And any shortfalls here, well, they can have consequences that last a lifetime. Undernutrition at this stage isn't a setback you can just catch up from later. It can cause permanent damage to their cognitive development.
So you have this monumental task, fueling all this insane growth, and you might think a newborn is just this helpless little blob passively waiting for food. But that's not true at all. They come into this world preloaded with an amazing toolkit designed for one thing: getting that food. So the question is, how do they do it? How does this little creature with basically zero voluntary muscle control manage to eat? The answer is incredible. It's a set of brilliant, hardwired reflexes they're just born with. So here's a look at their primary toolkit. First, you've got the rooting reflex. You stroke a baby's cheek, and they'll automatically turn their head toward it, searching for the nipple. It's how they find food. Then the suck reflex kicks in.
This isn't just sucking, it's a complex, rhythmic action that coordinates with swallowing and breathing so they don't choke. And speaking of choking, that's where the extrusion reflex comes in. Their tongue automatically pushes forward to thrust out any solid objects. It's a perfect built-in safety system. Just a beautiful, instinctual design for survival.
The key thing to remember, though, is that these reflexes are like training wheels. They're absolutely essential for survival in the beginning when the baby can't think or act on purpose. But as their brain and motor skills develop, these involuntary reflexes start to disappear, usually around 4 to 6 months. They fade away to make room for more voluntary, learned behaviors.
Okay, so let's put it all together. We've watched this tiny human make a high-stakes transition from the womb and then kick off this absolutely insane journey of growth, all thanks to a built-in set of tools. So what are the big takeaways for the first year? It starts with a critical period of pure survival, getting all the body systems online. Then, it transitions to a phase of truly explosive growth in weight, length, and most importantly, brain size. That growth is made possible by a built-in reflex toolkit that lets them find and eat food from day one. And all of this just hammers home one central point. Proper nutrition during this critical window is absolutely non-negotiable for lifelong health.
Which brings us to one final really important question. If you're going to power this kind of incredible journey, doubling, then tripling your weight, literally building a brain from scratch, you need the perfect fuel, a food source that is engineered specifically for this incredible task. So, what exactly is that perfect fuel? Well, that's what we're going to dive into in our next explainer.